By the late 1980s, Dodge trucks were stuck in the past. A boxy body unchanged since 1972, no crew cab, no true heavy-duty power, and barely 6% of the market as Ford and Chevy left them in the dust. Chrysler, still bruised from $1.5 billion in bailout money, was running out of time and cash. Survival seemed impossible for Dodge's truck line until a single unlikely gamble threatened to rewrite the rules. But who would risk everything, and why did it actually work? Dodge's truck division limped through the 1980s, weighed down by a body design that hadn't truly changed since 1972. Every year, the same boxy shell rolled off the line, while Ford and General Motors pushed out fresh, modern pickups with new features and real muscle under the hood. Dodge's last big block V8 had vanished after 1978, leaving buyers with nothing to answer the heavy-duty power plants offered by the competition. Crew cab? Not a chance. By the mid-1980s, if you wanted a pickup with room for the whole crew, Dodge sent you elsewhere. The numbers told the story. Dodge's share of the full-size pickup market slipped to a humiliating 6 or 7%, sometimes less. Ford and Chevy gobbled up the rest, their diesel options pulling in fleet buyers and anyone who needed to tow something heavier than a lawnmower. Dodge's own attempt at a diesel, a tiny Mitsubishi 4-cylinder, had flopped so badly in the late 1970s that most buyers never even noticed it existed. Dealers struggled to move trucks that looked and drove like leftovers from another era. Meanwhile, Chrysler itself was fighting for its life. The company had nearly gone under in 1979, saved only by a $1.5 billion government loan guarantee and a new boss, Lee Iacocca, who cut costs to the bone and bet everything on front-wheel drive K cars and minivans. The loan was paid back early, but every dollar counted, and the truck division kept getting passed over for investment. By the late 1980s, Dodge trucks had become an afterthought, one bad year away from extinction. If something radical didn't happen soon, there would be nothing left to save. In a cramped boardroom at Chrysler headquarters, the product planning committee faced a stark choice. Spend $250 million in years they didn't have developing a diesel from scratch or take a risk on an outsider. The numbers from their scoring matrix were blunt. In-house development would burn through $250 million, money Chrysler barely had after clawing back from the brink. The European contenders lagged in both cost and time to market. Only Cummins, a diesel powerhouse founded in 1919 and known for engines that logged 1 million miles in semis and school buses, checked every box: proven reliability, American pedigree, and a supply chain that could move fast. Cummins topped the committee's chart with 84 out of 100 points, far ahead of the next best option. Tooling costs for the Cummins engine landed near $50 million, just a fifth of the in-house estimate. The per-engine deal was set at $3,200, with Cummins earning a 2% royalty on every truck sold. Chrysler's negotiators pushed for something more: exclusivity. Cummins would not supply this engine to Ford or GM for the length of the contract, locking Dodge into a unique selling point the competition could not touch. The agreement was a lifeline, but it wasn't cheap. Cummins demanded a 7-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. It was twice the industry standard. For Chrysler, it was a calculated gamble. Bet on the Cummins name and hope the engine's reputation would overcome years of neglect and skepticism. The handshake sealed, both companies braced for the next hurdle, fitting a hulking industrial inline 6 where no one thought it belonged. The Cummins 5.9-liter turbo diesel wasn't just another engine drop-in, it was a leap straight from the world of 18-wheelers into Dodge's tired old pickup. Rated at 160 horsepower and a thundering 400 pound-feet of torque, it instantly outclassed anything Ford or GM offered. Where the competition's diesels struggled to break 360 pound-feet, the Cummins delivered its full punch down low, right where towing and hauling demanded it. This was the only inline-6 turbocharged direct-injection diesel in an American pickup. mechanical, overbuilt, and designed to run 1,000,000 miles in a semi. Getting it to fit was a saga of stubbornness and late nights. The block was so long that Chrysler's engineers had to rework the crossmember and firewall, reinforce the rear axle, and swap in a high-flow radiator just to keep it cool. Noise and vibration threatened to shake the cab apart until Cummins added balancers and hydraulic mounts. On emissions, they shoehorned in EGR and a catalyst, meeting the latest EPA standards without strangling power. One engineer later joked, "We had to teach a farm tractor to sing opera, but the result was an engine that shrugged off abuse and came with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty, twice what Ford or GM dared to promise." For the first time in years, Dodge had something nobody else could touch. No one at Chrysler expected a stampede. The forecasts called for 10,000 Cummins-powered pickups in the first year. Optimistic, but still a safe bet for a brand with a reputation for leftovers. Instead, Dodge dealers found themselves fielding calls from across the country, with buyers willing to wait months just for a spot on the list. The actual number wasn't 10,000. It was 16,750, nearly 70% higher than anyone dared hope. On the factory floor in Indiana, Cummins could only keep up by running a single, grueling shift, and even that wasn't enough. Engines stacked up in the order queue while Dodge's plant managers scrambled to reinforce frames and keep the line moving. In some regions, dealers handed out numbers like a bakery, with stories of customers waiting 6 months or more. The unexpected crush of demand forced Chrysler's hand. For the first time in years, the truck division posted a real profit, $45 million in 1990 alone. That windfall didn't just keep the lights on. It gave Dodge the courage and the cash to try something nobody else would risk: a complete redesign from the ground up, with a look as bold as the engine under the hood. Bob Lutz didn't want another forgettable truck. In 1991, he gave Chrysler's designers a 6-month ultimatum: deliver something radical, or the whole project was dead. The safe, rounded Phoenix proposal was scrapped. Instead, the team took inspiration from the highway's biggest bullies, semi-trucks. They drew up a vertical grille tall enough to stare down traffic, a hood that towered over rivals, and fenders that bulged with purpose. The new Ram looked nothing like the pickups of the past or the competition. It was a big rig for the job site, a muscle truck for the blacktop. When the 1994 Ram hit showrooms, it didn't just turn heads, it turned the entire market upside down. Motor Trend named it Truck of the Year. Sales, stuck at 95,000 the year before, exploded to 232,000. By 1995, the number reached 410,000. Suddenly, Dodge wasn't just surviving, it was outselling expectations and stealing headlines. The Ram started popping up everywhere, from action movies to music videos and even a cameo on The Simpsons. For the first time in decades, Dodge trucks were no longer a punchline. They were the main event. The partnership between Dodge and Cummins did not just rescue a dying truck line. It set off a chain reaction that is still felt every time a heavy-duty Ram rolls off the line. The original 12-valve Cummins, built from 1989 through 1998, became a legend in its own right, celebrated for its million-mile durability and the kind of torque that turned work trucks into icons. Owners talk about these engines like family heirlooms, swapping stories of odometers rolling past 500,000 miles, of trailers pulled through blizzards and mountains without a hiccup. This was not a one-off miracle. Dodge and Cummins kept pushing the limits, renewing their partnership every few years and rolling out milestone after milestone. In 1998, the 24-valve version arrived, bringing more power and cleaner emissions. By 2002, the ISB Common Rail engine delivered even smoother performance. The 6.7-liter debuted in 2007, producing more than 500 pound-feet of torque. When Ram split from Dodge in 2010, the Cummins badge remained front and center, a mark of hard-earned credibility. By 2019, Ram's heavy-duty trucks were laying down nearly 1,000 pound-feet of torque, 10 times what the old V8 engines could muster. Loyalty runs deep. About 80% of Ram's heavy-duty buyers still choose diesel, a level of devotion no other truck brand can touch. What started as a desperate gamble became a dynasty, built on the back of an engine that refused to quit. Today, Ram trucks outsell their Chevy rivals, a turnaround unthinkable in 1988. The Cummins gamble didn't just save a brand, it rewrote the playbook for what a comeback looks like in American manufacturing. Sometimes one bold engine really does change everything. Drop your take in the comments below.